Hey, how's it going? I had to switch setup, so I'm not doing this on time. Well, I don't have a schedule especially, but kind of want to have it in the day. That's not going to happen. I had an accident. Well, it wasn't an accident. I just got hurt earlier today, and it really messed up my shoulder. So, oh, and then my SD card got full, so I couldn't use my phone. Anyway, I'm going to try to do this quickly because I just didn't want to be a flake and not do anything, but I want to hurry up and stop, too. So, this bite is terrible. This is the Shaman's Dream Oracle card, number 42, Netcaster. Preparations come to fruition. So, I looked at this card and a couple of things jumped out, and I'm gonna just quickly talk about the thing that makes sense first. I see, well, first of all, I like the color, the green color on here. It totally reminds me of, like, the only place I've seen water remotely like that, like actually myself, that I could put my foot in it, was in San Clemente, California, when I was down there years ago. Otherwise, I just see it in photographs, but it looks like that the clear water that's green, well, like this color to me. Anyway, so it does have like a water theme with the throwing the net. So I see a woman or a figure that looks like a woman, and she seems to be, oh wow. Yeah. Okay, she seems to be wearing like sort of a Victorian ball gown skirt situation, and then up here it looks like she's wearing a long sleeve shirt, a white one, and then there's this like bandeau looking thing happening, and I thought as if she was a real person at that time. I don't know, like they were so Puritan, I heard, but behind closed doors, a bunch of freaks. But they, well, maybe post Victorian era, probably, but anyway, I think like what I was originally saying, they would have found a bandeau objectionable because of the area that it highlighted. But actually, in retrospect, like I was there, the hat kind of made me think some things. Like it seems like it was sort of a later date that hats that look like that came along. This is not being short, is it? Okay. So I thought, if you ever have seen the show Deadwood, hold on one second. Okay, so actually in retrospect does make sense, because I did start to do this earlier with my phone, and that's when I discovered my SD card kicked me off. But I started to say that if you watch the show Deadwood, that was on HBO, and it had Timothy Olyphant and Ian McShane, and I couldn't remember McShane's last name the last time, so I stopped and went and got it because it was driving me nuts. Okay, and so in that show, the women some of them, when they got dressed up, they had these outfits that were kind of like this. Like they have, it seemed like there were they were busy. There were like pinstripes and, bows and bustles. Bustle is something to enhance the butt or something, but it sat on like the small of the back area on your clothing. I believe it was either attached to the skirt or some sort of like plumping situation under the skirt, but no, it was two pieces. It looked like, I think, from the outside, from pictures. So yeah, anyway, it was a butt bumper or something, but obviously not fashionable these days. But like one character she often wore a top hat with a scarf around it and like a brooch on it or something, and there'd be like a vest and a I don't know, it was kind of looked like they dove through a thrift store. But what I'm getting at is a bandeau would not have been out of place in some of those outfits. That's not really important, though. I just kind of went off on a tangent there. But something else about her is that she's casting a net, and God, hold on, and you can see like it looks like fists right there, and then like strands coming down, and then like a droop in the middle, like a net would look if you were holding it about to cast it out. Oh my God, ow. And then so obviously she's fishing for something, and ideally you want to catch stuff. But on her skirt, just below the bandeau, is looks like a wishbone. Am I on the right spot? It's right under the bandeau, like right there. There it is. I can see it now. And then just beneath that, it looks like there's a child's head, like it would be a little girl, because what I think I'm seeing is a little girl. Where's her head? Oh, come on, Paradolio, don't mess me up. There it is. The light is messing me up. Okay, there we go. Under the wishbone, right here in the slight area, looks like a round little head. And then below that, you can see it looks like they're in a sunsuit, which is like a little girl's bathing suit, kind of one-piece suit. And she's got her arm like sticking out. Man, I'm having a hard time seeing. She's got her little arm sticking out like she's reaching for a star or something, and there's her arm, right? And then up over here is like this misty winged thing, like a wish, like she wished for a fairy, or she's wishing from a fairy or something. And that kind of goes along with, the fishing, because you're not, like, especially like right now in reality, you're not guaranteed a good catch or a big catch, or in some cases a catch at all. So especially now, there's a lot of like wish work and faith at play. But it also kind of made me think that like it's a very like nurturing idea that this woman is out here fishing, and to get the best possible outcome from the fishing trip, right? And so I thought that's like very nurturing, and I was like a little bit like, wow, that's really stark. That's really standing out in contrast. What's up with that? And when I made the connection with the nurturing, I thought of how roses are associated with the Virgin Mary, and she, I mean, she was kind of put in an impossible situation, and she would have been young, very young for our times, but for her times, probably just normal. Like, she would have been married off anyway, except for the whole, baby problem. Well, except for the baby. And anyway, I thought, like, that's kind of deep. Kind of deep. Deep nurturing. And so I think that what's happening is that I think we're all looking for like the best possible outcome, and I'm thinking in terms of like what's going on in my country, and there's a lot of, of course, differing opinions, and that's great. It's just, can we differ less violently and less needlessly harshly? I mean, I feel that way. I would ask that question, but I kind of feel like that's what she would sort of inspire in people. And the other thing is that, she and her hard to see child there is, and there's also like a cat curled up. But they're it almost looks like they're standing like in the foreground, or they're in the foreground, but in the background behind them is like the wide curve of a planet. Like it would have to be big. Like this figure is like right here, right in your face, and the planet behind her, if that's what it is, it's kind of what it seems like to me. Like when it's getting hit with sunlight, the edge of it. I'm like, oh, well, I guess they're in space, and it kind of looks like that. Like the stuff around them, and there are these weird. Well, they're not weird. Actually, I guess they're pretty normal. But there's this thing that occurs in space. I don't know the name of it, but if you look at that there, you see there's like the stars are the bright spots, and then there's like this fog around them. I don't know the name of that. But that's what made me think it's in space. Oh, I know why I'm pausing. Because I think of it as space mucus. So that's like kind of the normal stuff, or not. That's maybe the wrong word to use. But the other stuff that I found was just kind of silly. But, I like that. So the green that I like so much kind of also reminded me of the Matrix. And the bandeau, sorry, is like Neo from the Matrix glasses, except it's not Neo, just the glasses. And it looked like Tony Hale with some kind of makeup hair thing, and like an alien snout nose, and then the wishbone, which is like right where it's like right here, like right here somewhere. And it kind of looked like a breathing apparatus. If you're not native to this planet, You might need a wishbone breather. Uh, okay. So, I just thought that was funny. It's not really. I mean, maybe it will have some meaning to someone else other than it. It doesn't seem connected in particular. It's just my paranoia. But I have the book here, or I'm going to read from the book about the card. Number 42, Netcaster. Preparations come to fruition. A surprise, a result beyond expectations. The netcaster arrives to tell you to stop praying for the fish, for they have arrived, and it's time that you cast your net, lest they swim away. Everything that you long for is within reach, but it has been so long since your prayers were answered that you have forgotten how to receive what is being offered to you. Put down the prayer beads and open your arms and your heart to rewards beyond measure. Cast your net. Take the next step that you have been planning for so long. Remember that the fish wait for no one, so time is of the essence. Heaven and earth are in perfect alignment for your victory. The stars are positioned for success. The only ones that can spoil the perfection of the moment, or the only one who can spoil the perfection of the moment, is you. If you ask, do I really deserve this? Do I really deserve this? You will sabotage the magic and shatter the crystalline flawlessness of the now. The netcaster can also arrive to bring you bad news. To tell you that you have been snared in someone's trap and must wriggle free. Right now, it feels comfortable enough, even as the net begins to tighten around you. Do not wait until it's suffocating you before realizing you must escape and run for your life. It's still early enough to exit gracefully. Bide your time until all the conditions are right. Go to your place of stillness, of deep quiet, and watch for the signs that a new opportunity has arrived. Right now, you are patient because you feel that things will go your way. Learn to be patient with the people and situations that are most challenging. So those last two paragraphs about being trapped in the net and not realizing that it's about to strangle you or suffocate you or whatever, and also being patient to the people and situations that are more challenging, that immediately made me think of the people that get called lost people, like the QAnons and the MAGA people. And I don't agree with that characterization at all. I don't agree with a lot of stuff that's getting said by MAGA people now, because it's kind of I'm not MAGA. Don't get the wrong idea. I'm just not against them, but no, we're not going to agree on much. But when I knew some Q people, what they talk about now is completely different. And I mean, I know I talk about some crazy stuff sometimes, but they're now saying things that I think are nutsy cuckoo, and that's okay. That's just my opinion. Don't have a cow. And anyway, my point is, not all of it then was, it wasn't as outlandish as it is today. And also the people I was talking to were professional people that were well educated, and it was just a completely different conversation at the time. And all I can say is these people had more going for them than the people that get chosen by people with microphones to talk. Now I'm going to get totally sidetracked. When I was staying in Texas before the year 2000, my aunt pointed out something to me, and it was that she's from Houston, and I'm from Los Angeles, but she used to live in Houston. And then I got sick, so I had to stay with family, and I was there in Houston. So we're watching the news one evening, and she goes, "Oh, watch this! I want to show you something." And something had happened, and the reporter was talking to like the man on the street kind of interview situation. So just whoever it was different people because some event had happened. And she said, after it was over, she said, "Did you notice any difference between the people that the reporters were talking to, that they chose to talk to, than in LA?" And I thought about it, and she said, there was actually, I think the guy was a serial killer now that I think about it, he ended up being. But she was like, in LA, they would pick like the totally crazy people to talk to you, like the people with no teeth and the hair all over the place and obviously intoxicated. And she said, "How did you think like all of those people were?" And I was like, they could have been air traffic controllers. Like everybody was, not that they were like all dressed up, but they were just neater, not disheveled. And even if they had like dental issues, they were not they were not unintelligible. You could understand them, and I just hadn't really thought about that. But it's all in the way that stuff gets presented to you. And the point of saying that is that I think that when they go to interview these people at like rallies or Trump rallies or wherever you can find like QAnons flocking together, I think the media will pick the people that will get the most eyes, this person sounds kooky and looks funny. And and I bring that up because when I was like talking to those Q people for the better part of a year, not everything that they were talking about was something like unbelievable. And like it was a weird thing. Why am I getting? Forget it. I'm not going to go into all that. I'll be on here all night. So okay. But just that like they're not lost, and not everything they say is crazy. And in fact, if you can talk to them, you will hear a lot of stuff that's not crazy. And I've said it before, there's like a whole like other world that is sort of around them that's like science and information about military and also like cabal stuff, and also like UFO stuff and inventions and just all it. And it's not all crazy. Like I watched a convention one time that was like a product show, and there were so many things that they had on sale, at this place that would be useful today. And they worked kind of in like a prepper vein sort of thing, but all kinds of stuff like medical stuff, and like it's not all like wacko and cuckoo is what my point is. And so maybe if you have people that are challenging in that way, and you're like you can't like connect with them, it might help. Like there's a reason if you are saying stuff to them and they're not like hearing you and not responding to it. In that world, there are a lot of people that would that I talked to that would understand that it's not a matter of convincing them of anything, or that they're stupid, too dumb to understand, or that kind of thing. It's straight up that you just are not on the same wavelength vibrationally. So cut them some slack. Like you might also have the same issue in the opposite direction, like not give them credit for having any validity to their beliefs, because especially on an interview, how can you tell everybody tell anybody all of the stuff, and they ask you a question, and you've seen interviews. You maybe you have not, but if you had, you'll know what I'm talking about. And I did pull a Wild Unknown Animal Spirit card, and it is the Fire Ant card. It looks like somebody got a bite. Actually, what it looks like is the ants, it looks like someone got bitten, right? But whoever it was, pissed off all of the ants. So they're like, I want to bite too, and I want to bite the same spot because it's already hurting. I want to make it hurt even more. It's just an impression, but well, yeah, I don't know. It's almost like fire ants. It's almost like first responders when you look at the picture, though, because they're doing that thing that they do on water. If a bunch of them want to cross water, they'll make a pontoon bridge of themselves, and in the center, it kind of looks like that's what they're doing. And then all of the other rings around it look like they're just standing at the ready to render aid. So maybe it's not a person that got bit. Yeah, they're like... I guess I'm just attributing to this... I think we tend to just assume that because they're biting us and they're just using their natural defense, that they're like, you wiener, I'm doing this to you because I'm mad at you. And it's like, I don't think that's how it is with the ants. Yes, they do things instinctively, but they definitely have a reason. Like if they feel threatened, or they're young, or their habitat, and especially if you crush a bunch of them on purpose. There are some species of ants, I learned this a long time ago, that want revenge, and they will go long distances to get it. And I'm not sure if it's an overseas thing, but if you have a contiguous continent, they will seek you out. I'm not sure if they have them here in the U.S. It doesn't sound like we have something like that, but I don't know. I'm not paying attention to all of the bug news that there is out there in the world. Okay, oh good, this is short. Okay. Fire ant. Aggression, rigid thinking, following orders. Fire ant energy flares up without us noticing. Well, I can attest to that. It's the force that attracts us to people and situations that feed our imbalances rather than those that counter them. Gossiping and blaming are a few indicators that misaligned fire ant energy is at play. Excuse me. You may also find yourself stewing on a person or situation, only making things worse. How can you break free from the drama and cool down? Fire ants are surprisingly sensitive. Don't pretend the heat isn't getting to you. When in balance, thoughtful, disciplined. When out of balance, argues, excess heat, gossips. To bring into balance, solo time, walks at night. That sounds great. The walk. So, oh shoot, why did I close that page? Oh, good. There actually was. Oh yeah, the stewing. So okay, I got I got snagged on the stewing part because it made me think of those people I was talking about earlier, where some of them, well, they've gotten in trouble for taking violent actions about things. And like, I don't know if you remember, but there was a guy that he was trying to bomb, and he had a van that was covered with stickers, like Trump stickers, and you know, that kind of stuff. Like, I guess he was into all of the stuff that I've been talking about, the QAnon and the MAGA people. And so he, like, I think when they caught him, because they caught him before he was able to do anything, and no one got hurt, and I like, maybe there was like car chase or something, but I think there was no injuries to anyone. But when they talked to him, he was just like gaga for Trump, and he was like, he didn't really have like money and a job, and he lived in the van, or he lived with his mom or something, but he had some kind of sad story about him, and I remember thinking, like, wow, this dude's really obsessed. Well, it wasn't just me. I'm sure they were saying it on the news reports, but he like sat around and thought about it and thought about it and thought about it, and gathered like as much stuff as he could get. I guess he had like weapons and bomb making stuff, or pipe bombs. I think, yeah, he had pipe bombs. It was just like not a great obsession, not just not a positive fixation. That's, I couldn't characterize what caused it, but I will say this is, when it comes to mental health or ill mental health, I think that a lot of us are not qualified to really diagnose it or understand it. We have like a real pop psychology, like understanding of ill mental health, and that's not great. I mean, I can't even specify, because how is someone that's not, I mean, yeah, you kind of got to really be a professional if you want to start like stirring the pot in people's heads. And I'm not innocent. I have done it too. Like, I've mentioned projection and obsessive compulsive behaviors, and I have done a lot of reading, but I'm not certified. But I think that a lot of blame and anger comes into it. Like, we kind of get mad at the people for being mentally ill. Like the Penny, or is his name Penny? Somebody in New York. I think he's a vet, Air Force vet, and he just like choked out this black dude on the train, and I guess he had some mental issues, but he was also starving. Like, he literally starving to death. Like, I guess he was too erratic to like have a job, and he just didn't have a great life, and he was kind of like saying what the problem was on the train, but people were ignoring him and getting mad at him, and he was upset. And then this Penny guy like just restrained him, and then a couple other people jumped in and helped hold the poor guy down, and they killed him. And that's not, like, I don't think, a great approach to helping someone that has mental health issues. And it kind of makes me wonder about the mental health of all of those men that attacked the guy they killed. And that's all I want to say about that. But we have a lot of people with like stuff going on like that, and like even if you don't have like crazy, sorry, bad choice of words. If you don't have like mental health things that are like you're a danger to yourself or others, or you're erratic in whatever way, is a spectrum. It is literally there's, well, I guess several spectrums in the whole umbrella group of things, issues, categories, things. Yeah. The heck was I saying? Oh, I don't know. I mean, oh, yes. Like on the spectrum, I don't think anybody's like missing the uh, mental health issue buffet, especially after COVID. That messed people up. But I can talk about that another day. I think I'm done. What was I just talking about? Oh, the mental health. Yeah. Yeah, it's an issue. I guess I kind of got away from that last bit that actually had to do with the fire ant with the stewing. Oh, well, yeah, the guy with the van. So, and there's a lot of people out there. And one last thing while I'm at it, the serial killers and all of the sex pervs, they sit around and think about stuff until they drive themselves to acts. And yeah, what are we missing? That's what I'm thinking or hearing. What are we missing? What are we missing about them, and what are we as people that are that way missing? I don't even know that is a mental health thing necessarily. And I don't know what else it could be. Let me stop talking. How long have I been talking? Oh my gosh. Thank you and good night. I thought it was going to be short. Ha! Good one.